Welcome, guys, to another episode of the Wealthwise Show. I'm your host, Derek Johnson. In today's episode, I'm going to be going over what I do for a living and how you can also do it for a living. This is actually going to be a 4-part series I'm going to be doing. I'm going to do all of them, and so you're going to see me in this garb. As you saw me from last week. And that's because I'm pumping out content. So you're going to be, I'm going to try to do it all at one time and split up into 4 parts. But what I might do is drop one episode, then a regular episode, stagger. So bear with me. Hopefully you guys enjoy this series on the Registered Investment Advisor Blueprint. Once again, thank you for joining me. My name is Derek. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that I'm the host of the Wealthwise Show. And so, guys, disclaimer, please, anything you hear in this podcast is meant to be used for educational purposes only. My opinions are that of my own, not of my firm, Benowitz Wealth Management, and anything you hear, any stocks or anything like that are being used as examples. They're not meant for you to go buy or sell. Please go speak to a licensed financial advisor, or if you have an advisor, please speak to them before you make any adjustments to your portfolio. So with that being said, let's get into today's show. So what do I do? So as many of you know, I think it's 12 people now. Welcome. I don't know how many subscribers I got. I haven't checked my subscribers on YouTube in a hot minute. So as many of you guys know, I am a licensed financial advisor. I am an investment advisor representative of Benowitz Wealth Management, which is a registered investment advisor. So those of you might be like, well, if the business is the registered investment advisor, I thought you was their advisor. Yes, I am a advisor for Benowitz Wealth Management. So the way it works is the government see my business as a person, which is going to be, as they see most businesses. And you have your individuals or natural persons, and you have your persons such as entities like my company. And so because it's registered with the state of Florida, that is a registered investment advisor, which is the company. So to build an advisory service or investment advisory, I said that wrong, but who cares? It's my podcast. I can do what I want on my platform. I'm sorry. I have ADHD and it might slip out from time to time. My bad. That's not becoming of a young black man who is a financial advisor. But yeah, you want to get in this business. It's pretty simple. I ain't gonna lie to you. If you're a good person, you're not gonna steal nobody's money, and you're fascinated with numbers, you're fascinated with business, you're fascinated with, helping people by giving them advice. That's pretty much just the markets take care of itself a lot of times. So just, keeping up with, the news and different things going on in the market, that's fine. But majority of the time, the market is going to take care of itself. We have these large dips like we had this year, and then it recovers, same thing with a lot of other things. And so really my job is to focus on not just making sure, my clients get what they're paying me for, which is wherever their goals are, but to advise them, to teach them, to show them, hey, this is happening and this is the outcome and this is why. This is the meaning of this. They hear stuff on news a lot. A lot of my clients are retirees, first and foremost. And so a lot of my clients are not sophisticated on, these topics. And a lot of times it can become scary. And when they do retire, they have, their retirement savings that it can be a significant amount to where they're like, oh, my goodness, I'm hearing the news. I'm hearing my coworker. I hear my son. I hear my wife. I hear my husband, X, Y, and Z. And I just don't know what to do. So we come in and we say, look, let's put things in focus. What is your goals? And so we work with our clients on their goals, figure out what their goals are. All right. Now let's put a monetary value to those goals. Hey, this is how much it's going to be to achieve those goals. And this is the time horizon that you have. And so if your goal is just to sit on your porch every day until you pass away, well, this is what we're going to do. If your goal is to go fishing every day, all right, well, this is how you're going to be able to go fishing every day. We put a financial roadmap. And then when there's bumps in the financial roadmap, because life happens, it can be either their personal life, it can be the market's just having a bad day or a bad month or a bad quarter. Companies are not doing that great, or it can be political, or it can be a world event. Wherever those bumps come up, we come in and we refocus our clients. Hey, okay, is this going to change the trajectory? That word's going to beat me up. This is going to change where your goals are going. No? All right, then let's stay on this path. If it's a yes, all right, well, let's go ahead and find another avenue that can, you be able to reach your goals. And so when you are an advisor, is more of a people business, being able to connect with the person that you're, trying to help and actually help them, not just, putting their money up somewhere, not just, the trading and all that stuff. That stuff is great. But I would say 99% of my job is talking to my clients. And when I say 99%, I'm pretty sure that's like all of it. But not really all of it, because there's other stuff I do because I own the business. But when it comes down to the actual advisory part, I would say talking to them, planning out all that stuff. And then once I do the, put their orders in and you build out their portfolio, there's not many things that can change that plan. Unless, like I said, something major happens that we got to go and call a team meeting and say, hey, is this going to affect us or affect your plans in any way? If it is, all right, let's, DJ makes it up. If it's not, all right, let it rock. So understanding if you want to get in this business on the advisor side, because there's another side of the business that, I'll talk about later. But if you want to get on the advisor side, the planning side, all that stuff, then understand people first, and caring about the person, not just, wanting income, because one client is not really going to provide you a lot of income. Not going to hold you. You need a certain amount, unless you have an account that's $10 million. With one client, you're not going to have a lot of income unless you build that clientele, which is, we'll talk about later on as well. So you want to be an advisor, and you say, and I told you what an advisor actually does. Well, there is a difference between a planner, a broker dealer, and us registered investment advisors. So when I say us, I mean the business is the, IRAs. When you have the broker dealers are more on the sell side of the buying and selling side of what we do. And so they're the ones who going to have the custodian. They're going to be the custodian. They're going to be doing the transactions for the dealer or for the advisor and their clients, or for themselves or other individuals that they're working with. They could have an advisory side to their business, but majority of the time, that's the main bread and butter. Then you have financial planners. So I am not a CFP. A CFP is a certified financial planner. Those are the people who went to school and actually, so sorry for the weird cut, my bad. Certified financial planners. So they actually went to school for actual financial planning, meaning not just the investment side of things. They're doing insurance, they're doing the whole estate planning, they're doing a lot. They're do the whole thing at Compass. Now, majority advisors, investment advisors, a lot of them do have their CFP. I do not. It is something I'm going to be working on. But as of right now, I don't have a CFP. But those who do, I would say they are the ones who I would say have the authority on, when it comes down to actually planning. The investment advisors, we give advice basically on investments, meaning stocks, bonds, anything that you need to, put your money in and you want to appreciate, in particular securities like stocks and bonds, mutual funds and ETFs and things like that. So those are the differences between, broker dealers, financial planners, and then investment advisors. You can't see because my hand is down off screen. And so when you're thinking about becoming, getting into the business in general, you want to sit down and think about, well, are you good at sales? Like I said before, I was never good at sales. I pretty much sucked at it. And it's just not my thing. So being a broker or being an agent of a broker dealer is something that I know I cannot do. Mainly because, to try to convince someone to buy or sell something that someone else is pushing, that sometimes dealers may push. Of course, if they disclose, it's fine, but I don't feel comfortable with all that. So I'm not, broker dealers is not my thing. Financial planners, that is something, like I said before, that I am working on. That is my thing. I'm more on the planning side, on the advice side. That's my, I ain't gonna say my calling, but that's where I'm more comfortable. I'm more comfortable with doing that instead of, selling or buying things for clients. So same thing with you. If you're interested in, becoming an advisor or getting into this business, figure out what are you good at? What are your passions? And the key thing is why. Why do you want to be a broker dealer? Why do you want to be an advisor? And majority of the time it's going to be money. It is what it is. People see the movies, they hear, YouTubers, they see traders and, hey, I want to get into this business because it makes a lot of money. And like any business, not everyone is making that kind of money. Like literally any business. So if you're in it for the money, you could make more money doing something else. Not going to lie to you. Not going to hold you. But if you really want if you have a passion for like helping people on the advisory side and you really want to help people who a lot of times get taken advantage of or they're confused and they just need some assistance and, you can, why not? So that is this a good time to be an advisor? And I'm going off this little thing I made up or ChatGPT made up for me. Is now a good time? Me personally, I think so. I think this is a great time for young advisors, in particular those who are going to school, who are just leaving school, especially if you're in the business field, financial field. It's the ideal time because there is a significant amount of wealth that will be passed down from another generation down to the generation after it. And those people, a lot of times, they're going to get it. Majority of the time, they're not going to follow the plan that the person who gave them the money or passed down to. They're not going to follow that plan unless they have advisors around. Now, they may be like, well, you're my grandparents' advisor, or you're my parents' advisor. And some of them may listen, but others may just be like, you know what? I want to do my own thing. I want to get my own advisor. But not just that, there has been more money generated by different businesses, by different entrepreneurs, and, even people like, in the entertainment space. Like you got your TikTokers, you got your podcasters, you got your YouTubers, you got your musicians, you got your sports players, you got all these new people coming into wealth that they've never had before. And these are young people, lots and lots of young people. And so if you are interested and you're around their age, and this is something that you can actually genuinely care for and help them out, of course, this is a great time. But, like I said, between the transfer of generational wealth and the new wealth that's being created, and the amount of advisors who are getting up in age. You know, a lot of them are getting older, and they might be retiring, or they might be, you know, losing functions in their mental capacities. And, you know, for myself in particular, you know, being Black is something that, you know, I don't see a lot in this industry. You know, I do see a lot more, you know, white people in this industry, and I've heard like most of the majority of my clients are Black, and you know, one of the things that they mention is, you know, it's nice to see someone that looks like them in this industry that they can trust, and it has nothing to do with not liking white people or not liking Black people. It is just the fact that, you know, what you're comfortable with. You know, if you see someone who came from an area or kind of understand the lingo, kind of understands, you know, your background than someone else, you might feel more comfortable with that person. And so there are a lot of opportunity for, you know, people of color to participate in this field. You know, I'm wholeheartedly saying, like, you know, do it, because there's not a lot of diversity in this film. And I'm not calling for a DEI. I'm not calling for any of that. I really don't care. If you know me, you know, that stuff don't shoot, do what you want. It just, the things I've witnessed personally, I think, you know, if more people of color, in particular Black people, Black men and women, get into this industry, they will be able to help more people who look like their parents, their grandparents, to, you know, not see the poverty like we've been seeing, because, you know, they work just as hard. They make an income. They got houses, but a lot of that stuff goes away when they go away. And so having, you know, more advisors, it becomes a lot more easier for people to build generational wealth and actually transfer that wealth. And so is now a good time? Yes. And that's one of the things where, you know, people have to understand is when it comes down to timing, a lot of people say it's always going to be a good time, and they may be right, but it really depends on you. Like, is the time good for new advisors? Yes, but is the time good for you? Who knows? That's a you and whoever you talk to question. And understanding that, you know, if you want to be an advisor, you know, pretty much how do you want to get paid is a good one. Like, you want to be commission based by sales, or you want to be fee based by giving advice, or do you want a one-time payment if you doing a plan? You know, figure out, you know, the qualifications you need to make those things happen, which is actually going to be our next episode. Yeah, our next episode is going to be what are the qualifications to get these licenses, and, you know, then following on, we're going to be how do we build a business and all that stuff. I'm going to give you all the good stuff. One of the things I do want to mention, because I did mention, you know, broker dealers, certified financial planners, and you know, RIAs, registered investment advisors, but you also have tax professionals. I cannot stress enough. Tax professionals, people who, not just your H&R Block people who, you know, occasionally do taxes once a year. I'm talking about this is their career. You know, if you're the type of person where it's like, you know, I'm not really into sales, you know, I'm not really into giving advice, I just like the numbers, you know, think about taxes. Everyone's going to need a good tax professional, and everyone, well, I didn't say going to always need a good tax professional. And so those are the things to think about. And so I appreciate you guys joining me for another episode. Once again, you're going to be seeing me in this garb for a couple of episodes because I'm recording all the episodes at one time. And yeah, I appreciate it. Actually, you might not. I might just call it quits and go do something else in my life because I'm tired. But if you see me in this garb next week, you know why. If you don't, then you know why. With that being said, guys, I appreciate you listening to me, 12 of you. And until next time, stay wealth wise.